Hello, welcome to another episode of our live stream, My Journey to the Trinity. Hope you're having a good day. Oops, don't know where our friend went. Oh, sorry, going to be pinky free today. So, yeah, I've been talking about the miracles in the Quran, scientific miracles. And one of the amazing scientific miracles of the Quran is what it says about the sun. And it's a real scientific wonder. And our brother Truth Defender sent me a really cool slideshow that he made about the sun, and I thought it would be really good to look at that. So let me go ahead and share this. Okay. Okay, it's Truth Defender's analysis of scientific blunders. Okay. One of the big scientific blunders of the Quran, and this is a doozy. This is like the queen of all the scientific miracles, and it is the verse in the Quran says in Surah 18, verse 83 to 86. It says, "They will ask you of Dhul Qarnayn." Now, Qarnayn means two-horned. Qarn or qarn means in Arabic horn, like a cow horn or a unicorn horn. And so Qarnayn means two horns. Dhul Qarnayn. I wonder if there's not a biblical connection to this, because in the book of Daniel, it talks about the Prince of Greece, and it says that he's like a goat with two horns. So I wonder if that's not the where that comes from. So it's possible. So let's go ahead and read this. It says, "They will ask you of the Quran. Say, I shall recite unto you a remembrance of him. Lo, we made him strong in the land and gave unto everything a road. And he followed a road till he reached the setting place of the sun. He found it setting in a muddy spring, and found the people thereabout. We said, O Dhul Qarnayn, either punish or show them kindness." Okay, and so I'd like to read the Arabic here. حتى إذا بلغ مغرب الشمس, when he reached the place of the setting of the sun, وجدها تغرب, he found it setting في عين هامئة, in a warm pool. Okay, ووجد عندها قوما, and he found people there. قلنا إذا القرنين أما إن تعذب وأما إن تأخذ فيهم حسنا. Okay, so he's saying, either punish them or do good for them. So this is the verse, and of course the scientific miracle here is that it sets in a muddy spring, the setting place. And there's lots of theories about what this means. Let's look here at some of the okay, this is what Ibn Abbas, okay, this was Muhammad's cousin. He's one of the most highly regarded commentators on the Quran. He's revered by Muslims for his knowledge and expert in tafsir. This is what he says. when he reached the setting place of the sun, where the sun sets, he found it setting in a muddy spring, a black and muddy, stinking spring. It is also said that this means a hot spring. Hamia in Arabic is a word that means hot also. Hamia, and found people thereabout. These people were disbelievers. We said, O Dhul Qarnayn, we inspired him, either punish them, either kill them until they accept to believe that there's no deity but Allah, or show them kindness. It just, the Dhul Qarnayn is supposed to be Alexander the Great. And, there was no Islam in his time. He was an idol worshiper. He even had a temple made for himself, in his honor. And so to say that he cared about people becoming Muslims, of course, in Islam, they believe he was a Muslim. So, okay. And, okay, so here is, all right, Muhammad. And an interesting thing is Ibn Ishaq, who Ibn Ishaq is the first biographer of Muhammad, the one who wrote the first biography, which doesn't exist anymore, except for there's a guy named Ibn Hisham who took some of Ibn Ishaq's writings and wrote his biography of Muhammad, Sirah Nabawiyah. And in Ibn Ishaq's book, there's this very strange passage about a poem that existed in the pre-Islamic time. Okay, and it says Ibn Ishaq recorded many pre-Islamic Arabic poems. So there are several poems that he wrote that existed before Islam, including a poem about Dhul Qarnayn, okay, about this individual with two horns. And he claims it was composed by a pre-Islamic king of ancient Yemen named Tuba. In this poem, this is what he says: Dhul Qarnayn, a Muslim, where the sun sinks from view, a muddy pool and fetid slime. Okay, so this poem has several things in it that are in the Quranic verse. Number one, Dhul Qarnayn, okay, who's believed to be Alexander the Great. But the interesting thing is he's called the Muslim, and this was written before Islam. This was in pre-Islamic time. So why would they be calling somebody a Muslim in pre-Islamic time? Except the possibility that this religion existed before Muhammad. Okay, and that people were called that before Muhammad. Okay, so just some interesting details about this poem here. Okay, and then it also mentions that the sun sinks from view and a pool of mud and fetid slime. Okay, so all of these details, this was written before Islam, before Quran, before Muhammad, by the king of ancient Yemen. And we know that Muhammad was called the ear. And so, it seems likely that he just heard this story and put it in the Quran, okay, not knowing exactly what it was about. Okay, but okay, this is let me go down here. Okay, now this is the pre-Islamic poet, a contemporary named Muhammad Hassan ibn Thabit. Okay, now this is a guy This guy was actually after Muhammad, and he wrote some poem. He wrote a poem. Okay. Now this would have been about 30 years after Muhammad. Well, actually, he died 30 years after Muhammad died. Okay, and he wrote a poem, and it reads. It says, the realm of Dhul-Qarnayn the Glorious. Realm like his was never won by a mortal king. Followed the sun to view its setting when it sank into the somber ocean spring. Up he clomb to see it rise at morning from within its mansions when the east is fired. All day long the horizons led him onward. All night, though he watched the stars he never tired. Then of iron and liquid metal, he prepared a rampart not to be overpassed. Gog and Magog there he threw in prison, till on judgment day they shall wake at last. Very interesting poem. Very interesting poem, and it has a lot of aspects that are written in different surahs of the Quran. For instance, the Juj and Yajuj, Gog and Magog. The fact that there was this barrier made of liquid metal, and that was built by Dhul-Qarnayn. Okay, so I was bringing all of these stories together. Okay, the setting of the sun and the Gog and Magog being hidden behind this wall that was built, and that they're going to be released before Judgment Day. And this is the story that, remember, Yasser Qadi says he doesn't believe in. So Yasser Qadi doesn't believe, even though it's written in the Quran. Okay, and so hello. Um, so here we see the okay. We see Hassan ibn Thabit, an Arabian poet, and one of the Sahaba. He's one of Muhammad's companions. Okay, and all right, he said, the Prophet said to Hassan. Okay, excuse me a second here. All right. Cool. Hey, you guys, tomorrow night we might have a guest, special guest. His name is Muhammad. Um, let's see. All right. We'll have our friend Muhammad Faridi tomorrow night. So make sure and if you can come, that'll be great. All right. Let's look at some of the this is called the philological evidence. Thank you. Thank you, Truth Defender, for giving me all these big words to learn. Okay, these are the guys that study like ancient legends and stuff. And they studied Alexander the Great and concluded that the Quran stories about Dhul Qarnayn closely parallel legends about Alexander the Great, found in ancient Hellenistic and Christian writings. Okay, this would probably be like in the Gnostic Gospels and stuff. There is some evidence in the form of ancient coins to identify the Arabic epithet, Dhul Qarnayn, okay, with Alexander the Great. There's also a long history of monotheistic religions co-opting the historical Alexander. Christian Syriac and Ethiopic manuscripts of the Alexander Romance from the Middle East have been found, which closely resemble the story in the Quran. Okay, so this story, like one of the stories that was recently, I don't know if you saw that, it was the Infancy Gospel of Thomas. They actually found a little manuscript of it. It was in the New York Post that talks about Isa making birds out of clay. And this was from the 3rd century, and of course, it's a Gnostic gospel that we don't believe in. But the thing that was amazing about it is that it predated Muhammad, meaning Muhammad heard about it and put it into the Quran, just like this story about the setting of the sun, okay, in the muddy pool. Okay. And all right, I just look here. Okay. This is a historical narrative, and Allah is doing the narration. See, this is what's interesting about this, is that you can't say that Alexander the Great is the one who's telling this story, or that Alexander the Great, that you could blame this on him, his view or his misconception about how the sun sets. The reason is because Allah is the one who is telling this story. Okay, Allah is the one who's telling the story. Dhul Qarnayn is spoken about in the 3rd person. It says he followed the road until he reached the setting place of the sun. He found it setting in a muddy spring. So this is Allah talking. So if there's anything wrong with this, it's Allah who is making this error. And okay, the fact that the narrator is Allah is made clear by phrases, we made him strong in the land and gave unto everything a road. We knew all concerning him. Okay, so this really becomes a huge problem, because this means Allah is the one who thought the sun sets in the muddy pool, because it's presented as a historical event. It's not saying like, oh, he thought the sun set in a muddy pool, or it was the beliefs of the ancient Greeks or Macedonians in Alexander the Great's case, believed that the sun sets in a muddy pool. No, it says it as a fact that he found the sun setting in a muddy pool. Okay, it literally went into the muddy pool. Okay. The story, therefore, is told from the perspective of Allah, not Dhul Qarnayn. Any explanation which says this is merely what Dhul Qarnayn thought he saw or found is not being true to the text of the Quran. The text of the Quran clearly states the following things. Dhul Qarnayn reached the setting place of the sun and found the sun setting in a muddy spring. Okay. The story has the following errors. One cannot reach the setting place of the sun or the rising place of the sun. Those are a couple of the errors. Okay. You can't reach that place or those places. If you are at a place where you see the sunrise, you are not at the place where it is rising. Likewise, if you were at a place where the sun set, you are not at the place of its setting. The sun, okay, another problem is the sun doesn't set in a muddy pool. Okay. Now there's another hadith about this. Now, to take it from the mouth of Allah, because this is Allah speaking here, well, what did Muhammad think? Well, we have a hadith about it as well. Okay, and this hadith, okay, is says, okay, Abu Dar, one of Muhammad's close companions, was with Muhammad during the sunset. Muhammad said to him, "Do you know, Abu Dar, where the sun sets?" He answered, "God and his apostle know better." Notice that God and Muhammad are placed on the same pedestal. God and his prophet know better. There he's putting Allah and Muhammad on the same level in terms of knowledge. Okay, that they both know. They know something that Abu Dar doesn't know. And so when they say they don't deify Muhammad right here, and Muhammad doesn't correct him. Muhammad doesn't correct him and say, no, don't say that. Only Allah knows. No, he just continues. He says, it sets in a spring of slimy water. Okay. And this is in the commentary by Zamashkhari. It's called the Kashif. Kashif is the exposer. Okay. And Al-Tabari and Al-Baydawi both understood this passage in a literal sense. The sun sets in a slimy spring. That is a well that contains mud. Some of the readers of the Quran said a hot spring. Thus, the spring combines two descriptions. It is said, okay, some say it is muddy, okay, and some say it is hot, because the word hamia is used for both. Hamia does mean hot in Arabic, okay? Okay. Now, this is what some modern Muslims say about this. When you have both Allah and Muhammad saying, as direct quotes, Allah says it in the Quran, Muhammad says it in the Hadith. You have to deal with it. You have to, you can't just say, well, this is a weak Hadith or something. I mean, it's in the Quran, so you have to deal with it. And so these are some of the things that modern Muslims say. The passage describes only what Dhul Qarnayn thought he saw. Remember, we talked about that. The way the verse is written is not about what he thought he saw. It's Allah telling Muslims what he saw, what Alexander the Great saw. Okay. The story was told from Allah's perspective. Allah is telling, because the Quran is supposed to be the words of Allah. Okay. And he's the one who's saying he found it setting. Wajadaha. Okay. Then some Muslim scholars say the rising of the sun is an idiom for going east. The setting of the sun is an idiom for going west. Okay. West and east are directions. The text said Dhul Qarnayn reached the place of the rising of the sun and the place of the setting of the sun. Okay. One does not reach a direction, but a destination. Okay. So it's very clear in the Quran that he reached this place. And I mean, it was a literal place with a literal geographical feature of a muddy spring. And more than that, it says there were people living there. There were people living there, and And Allah told Alexander the Great, either punish them or don't punish them. Okay? So it's a literal place that he got to with, a literal pool with literal people there. Okay? So another explanation is that this is clearly figurative language. Historical narratives typically contain a lot of figurative language. Okay, why was this not clear to Tabari, who's the premier Islamic historian, or al-Baydawi? They believed it literally. Okay, and if you read it in the Quran, it is literal. Okay, Dhul Qarnayn merely reached a beach, arriving at the time of the sunset, and traveled to another place and arrived there at the time of the sunrise. Okay, but the context is Allah giving Dhul Qarnayn a road to various destinations. It does not necessitate Allah making a special road for someone to see a sunset at a beach. Okay, so I also want to show you, since we're on the topic, and I've done this before, but also wanted to show you what our friend Zakir Naik, he has something to say about this. So
I'm going to show you a way to
okay.
Is describing what appeared to Zulkarnain, meaning it appeared to Zulkarnain. Dr. William Campbell raised was regarding Surah Kahf, chapter number 18, verse number 86, that Zulkarnain sees the sun setting in murky water, in turbid water. Imagine sun setting in murky water, unscientific. The Arabic word used here is, it is wajada, meaning it appeared to Zulkarnain.
Okay, guys, this is one of my favorite Arabic lessons from Zakir Naik. He says, wajadaha means it appeared. The word wajadaha means he found. It's a very common word in Arabic. It means he found. He found it setting in the muddy pool. It doesn't say it appeared. If it was it appeared, in Arabic, it would be the word dhahar. Dhahar. إنها تغرب في عين حامئة. Dhahar. It appeared. Dhahar would be appeared. Wajadaha means he found it. Okay, so.
And Dr. William Campbell knows Arabic. So wajada means, if you look up in the dictionary,
Zakir Naik doesn't know Arabic.
Also, it means it appeared. So Allah subhanahu
It doesn't mean it appeared.
wa ta'ala is describing what appeared to Zulkarnain.
Okay, no, he doesn't. This is Allah telling that the sun is setting in a muddy pool.
If I make a statement that the student in the class said 2 plus 2 is equal to 5, and you say, oh, Zakir said 2 plus 2 is equal to 5. I didn't say. I'm telling the student in my class that 2 plus 2 is equal to 5. I'm not wrong, the student is wrong. There are various ways to try and analyze this verse. One is this way, according to Muhammad Asad, that wajada means it appeared to.
It doesn't mean it appeared to. It doesn't mean it appeared to. They're trying to rescue themselves from this blunder. It means wajadaha, he found it.
To Zulkarnain. Point number 2. The Arabic word used is maghrib. It can be used for time as well.
Doesn't that guy look like George W. Bush? Look at the way he's looking. I think what's happening is that this guy understands Arabic and he knows Zakir Naik is lying.
Place. When we say sunset, sunset can be taken for time. If I say the sun sets at 7 p.m., I'm using it for time. If I say the sun sets in the west, it means I'm taking it for place. So here, if you use the word maghrib for time, so Zulkarnain not reached that place of sunset, use it at time. He reached at the time of sunset. The problem is solved.
It's not solved. It's absolutely not solved. Oh man.
Furthermore, you can solve it in various ways, even if
You can solve it in various ways. Why? Because it's so pathetic, so unclear. It's as clear as mud. It's as clear as mud. That's why he says it can be solved in various ways, meaning you got to twist and twist to make this make sense.
Dr. William Campbell says, no, the basic assumption is too much. It is not appeared to, it is actually this. Let's analyze it further. The Quranic verse says, the sun set in murky water. Now we know when we use these words like sunrise and sunset, does the sun rise? Scientifically, sun does not rise. Neither does the sun set. We know scientifically the sun does not set at all.
Yes, you're right. He's right. The sun doesn't rise and the sun doesn't set. The earth rotates, but Muhammad thought it did, and Allah thought it did. Allah thought it did.
It is the rotation of the earth which gives rise to sunrise and sunset. But yet, you read in the everyday papers mentioning sunrise at 6 a.m., sunset at 7 p.m.
You know what he's doing? He's talking a lot to muddle the mind, like Satan did to Eve. When Satan talked to Eve, he was trying to confuse, and by talking a lot and just making lots and lots of different conjectures and theories about it, he's trying to get people to accept what their mind knows to be wrong. Okay?
Oh, the newspapers are wrong, unscientific.
Everybody's applauding. Look,
If I use the word disaster.
Like Joe Biden today, when Joe Biden was with Kamala Harris today. Okay, as soon as Joe Biden started talking, everybody got up and started leaving. So, anyway, I just wanted to show you that that's what Zakir Naik says. But I want to show you something else. I want to show you something actually in the Quran. Let's look at that verse 18. He's saying that the word means it appeared. Okay. Now the translation, I'm not sure how the translation says it, but okay, it's Surah 86 Al-Kahf. حتى إذا بلغ مغرب الشمس وجدها. This is the word that he saw. وجدها تغرب. He found. Even Quran.com is saying that Zakir Naik is lying. It says he found it. Wajadaha means he found it. It does not mean it appeared. Where did he learn Arabic? Okay. This is Quran.com. Look what they said. He found it. He found it setting in a spring of dark mud. Okay. So even Quran.com says it, that what he's saying is baloney. But you know what else is interesting, you guys, is the fact that word wajadaha, that he's saying means appeared, is used again. It's used right here. Wawujid, wawajada, wawajada, and he found عندها, near it, a community. Okay, he found. It's the same word. Wajadaha, wajada. Okay, he found. He found it setting in a muddy pool, and he found people by it. It's the same word, found, twice. But if he wants to say wajadaha means it appeared, so it appeared it was setting, then you have to say, and it appeared that there were people. It appeared that there were people near it. Okay, but it very clearly, even Quran.com, and they're always twisting it stuff. But here they translated it correctly. He found it. He found it. He found near it a community. Coleman. Okay, so anyway. Don't go to Zakir Naik for Arabic lessons. Okay, let me just show you the English. And I see I don't know the English how that does. Okay, this is Mustafa Khattab. Okay, until he reached the setting point of the sun, which appeared. No, it didn't. Okay, now Pickthall is correct, okay? Pickthall is European, so he's going to probably be a little more honest. It says, when he reached the setting place of the sun, he found it. Okay, he found it, wajadaha, setting in a muddy pool, and found a people thereabout. I wonder how it says murky spring, and okay, see, this guy right here, Mustafa Khattab, he twisted, twist, and twist, okay, until he found the setting place of the sun, which appeared to him. So it's the same word. Here he translates it appeared to him, and here he translates it found. It should be found both times. Okay. It doesn't say appeared to him. It says he found it setting in my, but he's trying to save face. Of course, you can't blame him. Okay. Now, Hilali Khan, they did it right. He reached the setting place of the sun and found it setting. Okay. And he found near, see, now Hilali Khan did it correctly. They translated it right. Okay. So it, it says very clearly, he found it setting in a muddy pool. Okay, so all right, let's go back to our presentation here. Now, here's some other explanations. Here's what these were Muslim scholars say. Clearly, you cannot reach the place where the sun rises or sets. Therefore, this is not what the Quran means. Even though this is what the Quran says, it's not what the Quran means. Okay, and this is a classic case of circular reasoning. One assumes the Quran has no demonstrably false statements, so when they encounter one, they say the statement does not mean what it says because the Quran has no demonstrably false statements. So that's okay. Some other explanations is that Allah is quoting an old fable to make a moral point. The first problem is identifying the alleged moral. What is the moral? I mean, if it's in the Quran, it must have a moral point, right? Like when Muhammad wanted to marry his daughter-in-law, and then the verse came down telling him to do it. And then Allah says, this is in order that the believers not have embarrassment about marrying their daughters-in-law. And that was the moral. The moral is Allah doesn't want people to be ashamed of marrying their daughter-in-law. So, that was the moral. And here they're looking for a moral as well, saying that there's a moral to this. So, all right. Here's here's a little schematic about the size of the sun compared to the size of the earth. Okay. All right. The diameter of the earth is about 8,000 miles. The diameter of the sun is 863,000 miles. You can fit 109 earths across the sun's diameter. So how could the sun set in a little muddy pool on the earth? 20-foot swimming pool, So, okay. Okay. Some questions also about who is Dhul Qarnayn. Okay. Muslims have 4 different views about who Dhul Qarnayn is. Okay. Some say it was Alexander the Great, the man of 2 horns. Some people say he was Cyrus the First, the Persian. Some say it was a Yemeni king who had 2 ram's horns. Okay. And other people say it's just an unknown person. Okay. Conclusion, it does not matter who Dhul Qarnayn is. If he found that the sun is setting in a muddy pool and the sun does not set in a muddy spring, this is a falsehood, regardless of who Muhammad is talking about. Okay. Surah 18, theories and responses. Okay, these are some theories about it. Okay. One is the sun does set in a muddy pool. Of course. Early Muslim scholars of the Quran thought that this literally occurs. Okay, Tabari says, as his example, Dhul Qarnayn witnessed the setting of the sun in its resting place into a pool of black fetid slime. Okay, so Dhul Qarnayn, I mean, Tabari, he is like the number one historian of Islam, and extremely famous scholar. Okay. Of course, Tabari also believes that the earth is sitting on a big fish. Okay, but that's a different miracle. Okay. Okay. Another theory is that the muddy spring is really the Atlantic Ocean. Okay, the muddy spring is really the Atlantic Ocean because you see the sun setting into the Atlantic. Okay, the problem is the Atlantic Ocean is not muddy or murky. It is blue-green. And it is not a spring, but an ocean. The sun does not go down into the ocean. Okay. Okay. And theory 4, the muddy spring is really Cyrus I seeing the Black Sea. However, not only does the sun not set in the Black Sea, the sun would only appear to set over the Black Sea if Cyrus was directly northeast of it. Okay. Okay. Furthermore, okay, the Black Sea has an area of 464,000 kilometers, is not even close to looking like a spring. And everyone from the Egyptians and farther north knew the sun did not set in the Black Spring. However, in Shakir's English translation, the Quran has Black Sea. Ain, but the Arabic word is Ain. Ain means a spring. Ain is actually used in a couple of ways. One way that the word Ain is used, the more common way that the Ain is used, is Ain means eye, your eye. Ainin, so it's a little tiny little your eye. Your eye is called the Ain also, but a spring is also called an eye, but it's because it's like a little eye, and it's very small and water comes out of it. Maybe it's like an eye cries, tears come out, and so something like that. But it's the same word in Arabic. Ain means spring, but it also means eye. But it's a small thing. But in Arabic, it's very clear. If it was the word ocean, the word for ocean in Arabic is muhit. Muhit. If it's the word sea in Arabic is bahar. Bahar. Ain is very specific. It means a little spring. Okay. And in the Quran, it says Ain Hamia, a hot spring. Okay, so these are some of the theories. Okay. Okay, here's another theory. Muddy spring is a metaphor for something. Okay. If this was not physically true, just a metaphor for something or other, then the Quran failed to communicate that it was not true. And this was misleading. Furthermore, nobody can say this would be a metaphor, what this would be a metaphor for, but they got a big problem on their hands. This is in the Quran and in the Hadith, so they got to come up with something. Okay. Okay. Another theory is that Muhammad was telling them about a dream. So Muhammad was dreaming. Okay. But if Muhammad was just telling about his dream, the sun could set anywhere he wanted it to. However, it is unclear what a fictional character seeing a factually false thing and people believing it as fact is supposed to teach us about believing the truth. Okay. However, if a person said that they saw someone named Ali doing a strange thing and millions of people for centuries believed the person, would the person be a liar if he forgot to tell the people it was just a dream? So If it was a dream, why, first of all, why did Allah say it? I mean, this is Allah talking. The Quran is Allah's words, written from eternity past on the al-Kitab, okay, on the mother of the book. So why did Allah say it if it was just Muhammad's dream? Okay. All right. So anyway, there's some issues there. Some of the issues with this. Hello, Houston Euler. Okay. It doesn't make sense that one of three questions asked to prove Muhammad a true prophet would depend on whether or not Muhammad had access to the scroll for Daniel, which gives the answer. True story. More likely, it was just the Jews trolling Muhammad with questions where the solution is to reveal the Christian legend. Yes, thank you for pointing that out. There's also the Christian legend of the seven sleepers, which was also in Surah Al-Kahf, the cave, which was also yes. He was called the ear. He'd hear stuff and then write it in his book. And you're right that the Jews used to troll him. They used to make fun of him and try to, come up with crazy questions, and then just to, to egg him on and stuff. So yeah, so there you go. The lot of this amazing scientific miracle of the Quran, okay, about the sun. And there's let me just show you guys some more hadiths about the sun. The sun really is in quite a predicament in Islam, because there's several strange hadith about the sun. Let's just look at a couple more from like the hadiths. Okay. This is from Sahih al-Bukhari. Okay. It says, I asked the Prophet regarding the verse, and the sun runs on its fixed course for a term decreed. He said it is a fixed course. Its fixed course is underneath Allah's throne. So the sun goes to under Allah's throne. So I just want to see what it says under Yijri al-Mustaqir laha. الشمس يجري لمستقر لها. قال مستقرها تحت العرش. Okay. The sun runs on a course, and Muhammad said the course is under the throne of Allah. So the sun goes, and there's more detail about this in this hadith also. I entered the mosque when Allah's apostles was sitting there. When the sun had set, Muhammad said, do you know where the sun goes? I said, Allah and his messenger knows best. It goes and asks permission to prostrate and is allowed. So the sun goes to Allah and asks for permission to prostrate. Okay. And it is given permission. And one day, it, as if being ordered to return from where it came, then it will rise from the west, and the sun runs on its fixed course for a term decreed. So the sun goes and it asks Allah for permission to prostrate near the throne. It's given permission, but one day it's not going to. It's going to be told to go back. And then the sun is going to rise from the west. Now, you guys, I got to do this, okay? Okay, let me see if I can find this. I don't know if you guys remember a guy named Barack Obama. Let me just show you this. Just because there was this crazy theory going around when he, because remember they thought he was Muslim, which I still think he is. But, well, he didn't deny it. That this right here is the sun rising in the west. And it comes from that hadith, that the sun is rising in the west. And Obama was that sun rising in the west. So anyway, that's just something. But anyway, this is the source of that hadith, is that phrase, sun rising in the west, comes from that hadith. So anyway, interesting. So all right. Well, you guys, that's what we're going to tell you today. Thank you, Truth Defender, for that great slideshow. That was an awesome slideshow. It had so much information in it. I appreciate it. And he's got slides about everything, you guys. He's got amazing slide presentations, which is why he needs to do a live stream. And but I've been telling him, and until he does, I'm going to show his stuff on my channel. So all right. Okay, guys. Well, I appreciate you hanging out with us for a little bit. And if you haven't done it, then please do it now. Jesus, help me. Jesus, forgive me. Jesus, come into my heart. Jesus, help me. Jesus, forgive me. Jesus, come into my heart. Yesur sa'idni. Yesur samahni. Yesur udkhul qalbi. We love you, but more importantly, he loves you. So, and you guys, tomorrow night, Muhammad Faridi will be with me. He's not going to be showing his face because he's traveling, but he is going to be talking. So we're going to get together on another Quranic miracle, scientific miracle. So thanks for hanging out. God bless you and have a wonderful night.
If you have ever wondered why dull apologists lie so much, it's because on a rare occasion that they tell the truth, this happens.
One of the reasons I accepted Islam was the scientific miracles. I'll be honest with you. And now we know that this whole scientific miracles was absolute nonsense.
You're going to have to repeat that.
That the standard narrative has holes in it. That's what I'm going to say.